Welcome to IAS Market Talk, your trusted source for timely ag market insights, brought to you by Innovative Ag Services. Each week, we break down the latest beef market trends impacting Northeast Iowa and Southwest Wisconsin, with expert updates tailored specifically for our IAS members. This week, you'll hear directly from Dave Rueber, IAS Beef Production Specialist, who brings decades of experience and deep knowledge of the cattle industry to these conversations. Dave has been providing market updates to producers for years, and now he's bringing those insights straight to you through this podcast. Tune in weekly for what you need to know straight from people you know. With that, here's Dave Rueber with the latest on what's happening in the cattle markets this week.
David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag Services, calling with a beef market commentary for October 8th. Well, we talked about putting in a seasonal low, and it feels like we might have done that last week. Cash cattle last week kind of trading in that 230 range, which would have been $3 lower than the 233 that was out there 2 weeks ago. Futures market's been up strongly this week. Feeder cattle kind of leading the way. Feeder cattle put about $8-9 on feeder futures Monday, Tuesday. That's kind of dragging the live cattle up. They were up $1 to $2, $2 on those deferred contracts. So kind of showing some good signs of life here. We also talked about the fact that box beef needed to stabilize and come back up. Well, we put $6-7 on choice boxes since they bottomed out last week. So it feels like we put the low in on those as well. So the things we were looking for, we needed those boxes to turn around and start working higher, which they've done. The seasonal deal kind of doing its thing, bottoming out. We actually set new contract highs for feeder cattle futures month, pretty much all of them. And then also all the deferred live cattle futures are contract highs today as well. So this thing's trending to the good. Yeah, lots of bullish news coming on out there. So kind of just something to keep an eye on there. Grain prices, that corn market feels like it's going to be either side of $4. If you're selling cash corn, a little bit under $4 right now, but that should trend higher. Looking at what those futures give you an opportunity to price stuff at on corn futures. Cost of gains, I'm still kind of using that 90 to 95 cents for steers and 95 cents to $1 for heifers, depending on what winter weather's like and what kind of quality cattle you got to work with there. Break-evens on these new cattle getting bought right now, kind of running either side at 240. So if you can use the April contract, which is at 244, you can call them hedgeable. If you got to use the June contract at 237, I would call them not hedgeable. So that's kind of where we're at. Cash feeder cattle, not a lot of yearlings available right now, and that'll continue to be tight for a while here on trying to find 8 and 9 weights. They're going to cost you in the 360s laid in. Like I said, break evens on them in the low 240s. That's kind of where we're at on that deal. Calves, that's the big push on what's getting in place because there's just a ton of calves available right now to go into yards. It's that time of year when you got changing weather and a lot of calves getting started and a lot of sick calves as well. So they obviously require some babysitting. Good news is it feels like this thing's kind of on the uptrend that we maybe put our lows in last week. Once again, my name is David Rueber, Beef Production Specialist for Innovative Ag. Thank you.
That's it for this week's episode of IAS Market Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an update. And if you know a fellow producer who could benefit from this information, share this episode with them. For more updates and insights, visit innovativeag.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll catch you next time on IAS Market Talk.
Are you ready for a hands-on role with purpose? Join the facility operations team at Innovative Ag Services, where we value hard work, safety, and community. With locations across Northeast and Central Iowa and Southwest Wisconsin, we offer industry-leading benefits, on-the-job training, and a culture that supports your growth. From competitive pay to a uniform allowance, we invest in our team. Grow with IAS and discover your co-opportunity. Apply today at innovativeag.com.